In this video, I'm going to show you the best exercises to heal lower back pain, but first we'll do a Tai Chi Flow to start the healing process from the inside out. So find a place where you can do some mindful movement. Alright, so as always, don't worry about getting the movements perfect. I'll be your mirror image. That's usually the easiest way to follow along, but if you want to go rogue, then I promise I won't get mad. So whatever helps you get into the flow to where you feel in the present. So letting go of the worries, just coming into the here and now. All right, and if you're standing, we'll begin with the feet together or as close as you can. The hands can come to the lower abdomen, and we'll just take a few deep breaths. In through the nose, and then out through the mouth. Or out through the nose or mouth, whichever works best for you. I like to breathe in through the nose, the belly expands, and then breathe out through the mouth with a nice sigh. Letting out tension and stress one more time, sometimes called the belly breath. Then from here, the arms can float down by the sides. Then the arms float all the way up to the sides like you're spreading your wings. And circle in front as if you're gathering in energy, bring it into the heart. Send it down through the body, into the earth, sinking the chi. Breathing in, gather. Breathing out, directing back down. The chi is the life force energy, source of our power and strength. All right, one more time, sink the chi. All right, and then from here you can step one foot out to the side, either foot. The arms float up in front. Then the arms float down nice and soft, melting down, and then rising back up, like mist rising from the lake. Floating down like a soft rain. We call this opening the door, the start of the journey. All right, one more time, open the door. This time the arms float out to the sides, then the arms float down, the palms face up, the arms float right up the midline, turning, pressing up overhead, and then floating out and down. So this one's so good for the spine in that it helps to decompress the vertebrae, giving the discs a little space in between, increasing nutrition and hydration to the joints of the back, opening the shoulders and chest as well. One more time, holding up the sky. This time the hands float up to the heart, and then one hand pushes up, the other pushes down, connecting above and below. We'll do that on the other side, keeping the spine neutral at first. And this time you can do a little side bend if you want, but easing in. And then one more time to the other side, lubricating all the joints of the spine in all the directions. This time, push to the corner, the other hand pushes behind. As we add in rotation of the spine. Pushing to the other corner, the dragon spreads its wings. If you want, you can turn a little more. But always easing in, never forcing it. One more time, to the other side. This time, round out the arms, hug the tree, bring it back to center, and then step the feet a little bit wider. And then the fingertips point down towards the earth as you soften the hips and knees. Then the hands float forward and come all the way up and over, and then down the center line of the body. Call this digging in the garden. Coming all the way up, building strength in the legs, helps protect the lower back. Getting in our squats for the day. Coming up and over. All right, and then we'll reverse direction. So the fingertips point up towards the sky, and then they float all the way out and down. As we harvest from the garden, enjoying the fruits of our labor, circling around. All right, one more time. All right, this time round out the arms, hug the big tree right out in front. The arms open up wide, and then this time the hands come towards each other, prayer position, interlacing the fingers, the index and thumb pointing up, and then coming down again And this time, as you rise up, the arms come up and over, and you can even do a little back bend if you want. And then coming down, and then all the way up into a back bend if that feels right for you. We call this one the arrow. Let's do one more. Beautiful. All right, then release. Circle around, hug the big tree right out in front. Step the feet in a little bit closer if you want. And then from here, the hands drawn towards the heart, and then we'll step out to the corner. And as you step out, pushing forwards in space. Breathing in as you draw in. Breathing out as you push the mountain. One more time. This time, as the hands come back in, the palms face towards each other, and then they come right out in front. And then the palms face away from each other as they open, circling around, scooping under, and then back out in front, parting the clouds. Breathe in as you open. Breathing out. Let's do one more. Feeling all the sensations that you can. And then from here, step the front foot back in, the hands come back towards the heart, and we'll shift the weight, and we'll step to the other corner as you push the mountain. Breathing in, breathing out. All right, one more time. This time, the palms face towards each other as they draw in, and then they come right out in front. Then the palms face away from each other, then circling out and around, scooping under, back out in front, parting the clouds. Breathe in as you open, breathing out. One more time. And then step the front foot back in. The hands come back to center, making two loose fists. The forearms come towards each other as you round the back, and then reverse direction as the arms come out to the sides, opening the shoulders and chest. Breathing out as you round. Breathing in as you open. Call this spinal cord breathing. Adding a little more movement to the spine, creating flexibility and resilience. One more time, open. And the arms float all the way out to the sides, and then they float down. Then reverse direction, hug the big tree right out in front. Rounding out, the arms open up wide. Then this hand here scoops under. Step in as you catch the moon. And then we'll step right out to the corner, but first the top arm goes away. And then as you step out, the bottom hand tosses the moon right off into the sky. Circle it back around. Toss away as if you could toss the moon. This time the other hand comes back on top, catch the moon. The bottom hand tosses away, the other hand stays behind. Parting the wild horse's mane. All right, now this time, as you catch the moon, we'll make two loose fists. Then we'll spin the moon and then look behind as you rotate gently. And then coming back in front, release the fists, open the hands as you catch the moon. Then as you spin the moon, two loose fists. One fist comes down by the abdomen, the other overhead. All right, let's do that one more time. It's called riding the tiger. So two loose fists, gentle rotation of the spine. All right, this time parting the horse's mane one more time, toss away. And then step the foot back in, hug the tree, rounding out and soften, the arms open. Then this hand here scoops under, step in as you catch the moon, top hand goes away, just for now. Step out to the other corner, toss the moon. All right, this time the other hand comes back on top, catch the moon, the bottom hand tosses away, the other hand stays behind. Parting the horse's mane, creating tranquility out of chaos. As always, don't worry about getting it perfect. As long as you're moving, I'm happy. All right, one more time, toss away. And then this time, we'll catch the moon, and then we'll spin the moon, making 2 loose fists. The bottom one comes up, the other one by the lower abdomen, looking behind, and then coming back to center as you catch the moon. Spin the moon, ride the tiger. Looking behind, creating even more flexibility in the spine. Let's do one more. Ride the tiger. Beautiful. All right, toss the moon, parting horse's mane, just to keep it flowing. And then step the front foot back in, hug the tree, rounding out. The arms open. And then this hand here drops down. It drifts over to the other side. The hands switch positions. Then they float across like clouds in the sky. Wave hands like clouds. The hands switch again, softening the shoulders, softening the belly. We tend to hold so much tension in the torso and the back. How much can you let go? Using only what you need. Learning how to soften and move like nature with effortless ease. All right, floating across like white fluffy clouds in the bright blue sky. One more time. This time the top hand makes a hook. The bottom hand comes up. The bottom hand floats across the horizon. The palm turns out, shoulders sink. Let's do that again, just the arms at first. Floating across. This time you can step in as the hand comes up and then step out to the side. Single whip. You can always soften the hook arm if it gets tired. As always, being kind to yourself, please. One more time, single whip. And then release the hook. Let it drift on over. The hands switch. They float across, stepping in, cloud hands. Go across a few times, just really letting go. Anything you don't need. All right, this time the top hand makes a hook. The bottom hand comes up. The bottom hand floats across the horizon. Palm turns out. And circle it back around. Nice and easy, nice and slow. This time you can step in if you want. And then step out to the side, single whip. How mindful can you be? Letting go of judgment, bringing curiosity instead. It's the antidote to the judgments that are not very helpful. Some are, but most are not. Release the hook. Cloud hands. The hands become clouds, just like nature. We are nature. The more we connect, the more we let go, the more in harmony we can be. Balance and harmony is the cornerstone of Tai Chi. All right, one more time. Cloud hands, and then hug the tree. Bring it back to center, rounding out. The arms open up wide, and the fingertips drift towards each other. The hands float down. The arms float out to the sides, like you're spreading your wings once again, and then step one foot in, coming on the ball of the foot. Arms float up like a beautiful bird soaring through the sky. This time, if you want, you can lift the leg, the crane. Touching down is needed. Just meeting yourself where you're at. You can always go forward from there. This time you can reach up if you want a little higher, stepping down. I'll go to the other side, just the arms at first. Breathing in, so you spread your wings. Breathing out. This time you can lift the leg if you want. Touching down is needed. And then the arms can come up and over just as much as you can. We'll do that on the other side. This time you can lift right up if you want. And you can even hold it, depending on where you're at. Once again, letting go of judgment if you can. Bringing this beginner's mind. childlike curiosity. Oh, it's like that. Let's do one more round on this side, the crane. What does that feel like? Just letting whatever it is arise. The two shall pass. All right, this time step down and then circle in front. Hug the tree, rounding out and soften. The arms open, hands float down. Palms face up, one hand on top of the other. This hand here drops down and floats all the way up and over. And then down the center line of the body. Other side, breathing in, the hand floats up. Breathing out, centering. Let's do that again, creating mental focus and clarity. All right, one more time, centering. And then both arms float all the way up and over, just as much as you can. The hands float down to the waist as you soften the hips and knees. And circle the hands in front as if you had a big ball right in front of the body, scooping under, back up to the heart. And then down, still breathing. We'll go up and over again, down to the waist. This time we'll make a diamond shape with the hands right in front of the heart, and then press out, opening the heart. The hands float down. Let's do that again. Breathing in as you rise up. Breathing out, softening down. Circling in front, gathering in the energy to transform into loving kindness and self-compassion right at the heart. All right, last one. Coming up and over, down to the waist. This time we'll make the diamond shape again, right in front of the heart, and then press out, opening the heart, sending out all your loving kindness out to the world like rays of light coming out of your heart. May all beings be free from suffering. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they live with ease. And then turning your palms to face yourself, the hands come to the heart. May I be kind to myself. May I feel connected with all beings. May I love myself just as I am. Then the hands can float down to the lower abdomen. You can step your feet together or as close as you can. You can close your eyes or just keep a soft gaze. And then let your body rock and sway ever so slightly, maybe side to side or back and forth, or even maybe circles, but just letting the energy move you. Bamboo in the wind, feeling the sensations that arise, and then feeling the body breathing. This dynamic exchange of the universe. You don't have to do a thing. And then you can bring your attention into your heart, expressing gratitude to yourself for being here today. And then if your eyes were closed, you can slowly open them. The hands can come together in front of the heart. We can finish with a bow. Thank you so much for joining me for this Tai Chi Flow. So I hope you enjoyed the Tai Chi Flow. And so now I'm going to show you how to keep your back healthy and some exercise you can do to relieve pain. And we'll start off by talking about some of the exercises and movements that we do in class. So what we do in class, we always start off with a warm-up. I kind of built it in to where we do what's called there's 8 pieces of brocade. So it's a traditional Qigong set. So I took a few from those that really focus on the 6 directions of the spine. All right, so the 6 directions are forward and back, side to side, and then rotation both ways. So if you can do all those movements every day, then that's a great way just to keep your back healthy in general. All right, so it'll keep it flexible. And within all the joints of the spine, you have the discs, the intervertebral discs. and they basically can kind of dry up and they get stiff. And so when we move, we hydrate the discs. All right, so we're actually bringing nutrition, hydration, we're lubricating the joints. So it's one of the best things you can do, getting blood flow to the back and all the structures there. All right, so we do the first one we do is called holding up the sky, or holding up the heavens like a pillar. And so that's a little bit of extension, so backwards. So that one I really like to do, and we come forward just a little bit, but it's not a whole lot. So today we added in spinal cord breathing. So we round the back, so that's going forward and then back. So that's some of the best things you can do, just nice and gentle, and then you don't have to go very far. So just a little bit of motion can really, like I said, do all those things with hydration and nutrition to the joints. All right, so let's forward and back, or flexion and extension. All right, then there's side bend. So we oftentimes do connecting above and below, or sometimes it's called piercing heaven and earth. And so that's another way to kind of fluff. It's almost like your discs are like pillows. So it's like you're fluffing the pillows of the spine. I heard it's that one, call it that one time. I thought that was neat. So yeah, so that, and then rotation. So we do dragon spreads the wings, spreads its wings, their wings. To be PC now, so. All right, and so basically those are the 6 directions of the spine. Technically there's 7 though. So there's one called axial extension. So rising up through the crown of the head, getting taller. All right, but however, you want to actually do that for all of your movements. There is one caveat though. You don't want to walk around like this, because as you can see, I kind of look kind of rigid, right? So what I always recommend is before you start, getting taller, but then letting go 5%. So you're taller than when you started, but you're not rigid. All right, so those are the directions of the spine, and if you do those every day, those will keep your back healthy. All right, for most people. Everyone's different. Back pain is very complex for many, so I can't guarantee, as I say, but it's a great start. All right, and so those are the ones that I like to do every day, but there's lots of others. But I like those because you can do them in a flow, and so you get the mind and body. All right, so that's what you can do to stay healthy, is just do that warm-up every day. All right, and then there's also some exercises that we did within the flow. One of them is called the arrow. And so that one, we came down in like a squat. Now, whenever you do a squat, you want to spread your feet wide if you can, a little bit wider than shoulder width. Because if you don't, what happens is you come forward and then you round the back, and that puts a lot of stress on the joints of the back in a bad way. So if you spread the feet, then you can sit back and you can get more neutral, and you won't have to stress the back out too much. So whenever you bend down or squat, just spread the feet out a little bit wider. Something that simple can save you weeks of backache from just tweaking it the wrong way. Has anyone ever had that, where you just turn the wrong way and you're like, oh man, and then you were like feeling it for a week? All you have to do for most people is just make sure when you're bending is try to keep your back neutral. And you can do that by, and I know everyone always says that, keep your back straight, but how do you do that, right? So you spread your feet out wider, and then when you squat down, you can be in that position already where it's kind of like that athletic position. You see like football players or basketball, they do that because it's powerful and it's great posture. All right, so you usually don't see them kind of like this, right? So they're kind of squatting down in this nice stance. So, all right, and so we did the arrow. I really like the arrow because a lot of people avoid back bending. So I like to do the arrow. See how I'm doing a little bit of a back bend? Now, most people are afraid of that. For some reason, I was afraid of it too for so long. I thought if I was gonna do that, I was gonna like crunch my bones or something, or gonna create fractures. However, for most people, especially with osteoporosis, fractures are on the front side of the vertebrae. All right, they're not on the back usually, because we're usually hunched. And so it puts all the stress on the front of the joints. So instead, we want to open up. So anyone with osteoporosis, when I had patients for physical therapy, we usually would start to do light back bends actually. And that would start to decompress the spine. All right, so the arrow is a great way to decompress the spine, a little bit more than holding up the sky. But holding up the sky is like a gentle way to do it. So I always do that, because you're doing a little bit of extension, but not too much. But if that feels good, then maybe do a little bit more by doing the arrow. Yeah, or you can just do a regular back bend. All right, so that's called extension, back extension. All right, and I would say 80% of people actually need to do that to clear up their back pain. All right, the only problem is that almost everyone avoids it. They're like, oh, it doesn't feel good. It's because it's so stiff, it needs to get loosened up. So most people actually need to do the back bend. And even though forward bend usually feels good, right? Because you're getting all that stretch, it's feeling good, but it's reinforcing that bad posture. And so it's actually gonna keep you from fully healing for many people, so. All right, and so what usually happens is when you do the back bends is you feel tight, maybe even a little bit of pain at first, but then it starts to loosen up and you're like, oh, wait a minute. It's kind of like you make a breakthrough and you're like, oh, wait, now it actually feels better and I have more motion. And so if that's the case, that's probably what you need to do. All right, if you're doing that though, make sure you have a chair behind you or a couch if you have balance issues, because some people lose their balance when they're doing back bends. So make sure you have something right behind you, and then you can just do a few of these every day and just see how it goes. And then if you start to feel like, it's actually working, then you know that that's all you get. Well, you might have to progress it, but that's a good start. All right, so that's one of the best things you can do for back pain is extension. All right, 80% of people, so not everyone, but 80% of people I've cleared up years of back pain, including my own. So I always thought forward bending, I had to stretch that way. And so, but that made me get sciatica actually. I had pain that went down my leg because it was pushing the discs out the back, pushing on the nerve. So instead I had to push the disc. It was like kind of like you're pushing the disc back into place. And so I'm getting the disc back into place, getting pressure off the nerve, decompressing the spine. So it really works for many, many people. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Your next step is to click on one of the videos below if you want to continue to learn how to heal your body and mind using Tai Chi and exercise.